Yeah. Oh wow. This is spicy actually.
But here's the really harsh reality of building a company in 2025.
Well, it's not looking too good, at least not in the short term. But
It's fuckboy behavior. It's like it's two-faced.
they don't give a shit about the ecosystem, honestly. GM, and welcome to yet another episode of Soul Brothers live today on the 31st of Monday. Soul Brothers is your finest podcast on Solana. I'm here together with my friend Eno, and we're about to throw you into the Solana rabbit hole and show you around in our exciting ecosystem.
Our mission is to help you stay on top of the latest and greatest on Solana so that you never run out of fun things to talk about. Simon, where in the world are you?
So myself, I'm currently sitting at the beach in Capetown. So in front of me, I have a sea view, and I just came from the Capetown Apex, which was a Solana-specific event down here. They also did a little founders retreat, so I'm fully inspired again and fueled up with motivation from talking to all these founders. It was actually amazing. How about yourself? Where you at?
I'm currently in the Super Team Singapore offices, and I'm actually gonna take a little trip here.
Ooh.
Hey, Kimmy. Say hi. It's Soul Brothers podcast.
Oh,
hi.
Kimmy's that.
So Kimmy's one of the core organizers for Super Team SG, so Singapore. So graciously, she's letting me take over the meeting room for a little while. So sorry about that, Kimmy, but thank you. Bye.
That's amazing.
Soul Brothers. So yeah.
Random.
Yeah. So. So I mean, actually, the Sanctum team and Super Team SG just got a new office together. So that's why I'm here.
That's really cool. That's dope, man. That's great.
Yeah.
So Kimmy is leading together with Nick the Super Team Singapore, right?
Yes. Yeah. It's Kimmy. It's Hans. It's Nick. There's like a couple of people in Super Team SG that are all working together. But yeah, Kimmy's definitely a very, very popular member of Super Team SG.
Cool. Good stuff. So we are today in another episode. It is Monday. We're recording live today as we usually do. If you are tuning into this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you're watching this, then this will be probably like 3 days-ish after we live recorded. But I can tell you there's a lot of stuff that happened again in the past couple of days and a lot of stuff that's happening in the next 2 weeks. And we're going to try to, basically just break it down and condense it into an hour of updates and news from the Solana Eco, because that's what we do at Soul Brothers. I think there's so much stuff on the agenda again. We should probably jump into it. I guess that's the best thing to do right now. And as we usually do, I think we should probably zoom out a little bit, look at what Solana is doing, look at where we are in the market, what is the price of our beloved Sol token doing, to kind of get a touch and feel of where we're at. Shall we start there, my friend?
Yeah, absolutely. We say this every week, but this is the coziest part of the podcast. It makes us feel like we're right at home. And last week, I actually have not been paying attention to Solana prices at all this week. But from what I remember last week, we were on a slight uptrend. Where are we now, Simon?
Well, it's not looking too good, at least not in the short term. But that is why I think I suggest we start with the long term. Okay, so I will pull up the chart right now and describe also what I see visually. We're looking at the daily chart of the Solana USD pair, and we're looking at the logarithmic chart right now. It looks a little bit smoothed out, and we're looking also at the full journey of Solana, basically from 2020 to today. And first of all, what I wanted to definitely highlight here is that the Sol token has one of the, I would say, best charts out there. Not in terms of how the price moves like all the way up to the moon. Of course, we're doing good price-wise in the long term. But it is just a very sophisticated and very accurate chart that follows a lot of traditional indicators that we can actually use in our TA to make sense of what's happening. And you don't have that with a lot of tokens. Most crypto tokens, I would say more than 90% of crypto tokens, are really difficult to do TA on because they're just highly manipulated. There's not enough volume, not enough liquidity going on. So over the course of the token, it is kind of a false it's a fallacy to look at it and think you're making sense of the chart using your TA, because most of the times it doesn't work. TA usually works best in charts that follow the psychological trends and behaviors of the traders trading that token, and then it works best if a lot of people trade that token, right? So there's a lot of gist to that topic, but I want to highlight that the Solana chart, especially in the past weeks and in this cycle right now, is very reliable. You can actually make sense of a lot of stuff, and to highlight this, we take a look right now at the long-term thing again. And we're seeing like a big run that we had from 2020, launch of mainnet and everything, up to the 2021 high in November, right? That was the first big wave, and it follows a very neat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kind of example. Like this is how you learn it in TA when you try to deep dive into how Elliott waves work. I think, it was the first time that I introduced you to the Elliott wave theory. I think you didn't really hear about it before, right?
Right. No.
So the interesting thing is it's not just like some random numbers and waves that we draw on the chart. It follows psychological behavior of traders. That's why these waves and Fibonacci levels work so well, because the market overheats, there's an overbuying of a token, and then normally the retracement has to come at specific levels, and these are the Fibonacci levels that can be drawn into these waves, and give us kind of signals of where we should retrace and where we should go up again. And then obviously it's a range, right? We can never say it's going to go up exactly at that point, but it's always a range, and most times it works out really well, and you can really see it. I can draw it in the chart right now. Chances are very high that the second wave of this first breakout here retraced around the 61.8 Fibonacci level, and it literally did that. Like it went up and it retraced at the 61.8 Fibonacci level and went to the upside. And the 61.8 is the most significant Fibonacci level. Usually that's where we see the best signals. So that's just proof that this stuff does work to an extent. It's not a fucking promise that it works, but it helps us to make sense of the chart. Wave 1 goes up, wave 2 retraces. We're back in 2022. It was a tough time. We were at $7 Solana down here. We probably remember that, and it was a bit painful. People said Solana is dead, but we recovered. There was a move to the upside, wave 1, a pullback to the downside, wave 2, an impulse to the upside, wave 3, usually the biggest one. And right now we are in the fourth wave of this larger third wave to the upside here. And that's where we are. We're in the fourth wave correction down here. And now we need to make sense of what is happening here right in front of us. And there's two main scenarios, that I think we want to highlight here. One scenario, my favorite scenario, is that we're right now in a resistance area where we should bounce to one more high. And I think you've probably heard it as well. People talk about that. I think there's going to be one more high. It's something people say right now. And it's kind of consensus, and it is realistic. We just have to see the 5-wave move to the upside here, and we could bounce. Technically, we are in the resistance area right now here at $126, where we are right now. And from here, we could see one more move to the upside, and it would also complete. It would complete this move to the upside here. Right now, it's not completed yet necessarily. So we would really like to see this fifth wave here to the upside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that would bring us to $367.8. And that sounds juicy, doesn't it? $367.89. So that's my target for the fifth wave right now. We could go up right here and then land in one more high up there. Second scenario, it's on my chart. If you look at the visual, it's the red scenario. That would be that we're right now in an A wave down. We will see a B wave correction. So that would also mean there's going to come a recovery now, not to a new all-time high, but a recovery. And if we turn around now, I want you all to watch the area between $180 and $240-ish, because that's the resistance. If we break through, the yellow scenario plays out, fifth wave up. If we don't break through here, I think we're going to see a deep pullback, and we might even go sub $100 into a C wave down. So those are the two scenarios. My favorite is still, not just because I want the price go up, also from the probabilities point of view, is the yellow scenario where we find support right now. We might go down to $102 even right now in the short term. But then if we hold that level, we could see the rally to the upside to one more high. So I hope that makes a little more sense to people to kind of see where we are right now and what are the probabilities for more price movements. Does that help you? Do you feel like to date?
Yeah, I mean, again, you know me, I don't really worry about price all that much. But yeah, I would love to see another all-time high by the summer.
It just feels good. Like people are just a bit more happy, you know, like
Yeah.
the humanity talks about Solana, and we get more attention from new people as well. So bull markets are always just very positive for builders because the attention is there on what we do.
Yeah.
Twitter works better. There's, you know, people watch YouTube videos again. Everything just feels a bit more interesting, and that would be nice to see. If we don't see that, we're just going to keep cooking because that's what you do if you work in crypto. You don't really have a choice. So
well, it's look, either it's a bear market or kind of like a choppy market, and like I get to hang out with the core friends, you know, that we've built up over the last few years, or you know, Solana goes crazy and there's like a bunch of new friends to make. So I mean, like either way, I'm not stressing out too much.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's totally right. But let's not only talk about the numbers here on the chart. Let's also talk about some fundamentals and some overall market outlooks. What do you want to double click on? You know, what was exciting in the past days? What shall we touch on first?
Yeah, so I think what's super interesting is, you know, there's obviously much more Bitcoin investment, not only through like, let's say, bigger players like Michael Saylor, but also institutions and or companies such as GameStop, who has approved unanimously to add Bitcoin to their treasury reserves, which is super interesting. Like, I don't know if you kept track of the short squeeze GameStop saga, you know, a few years back. I actually am a OG Wall Street Bets, you know, forum participant. And so like was able to catch GameStop a little earlier than most, I think. So still bag holding after all these years.
Way.
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
You're still holding?
So still hold the diamond, you know, just got to, you know, direct register your shares, DRS, you know, the purple donuts.
But you did,
I went,
you did take some profits at some point.
No comment. No comment.
Amazing.
So,
amazing.
Obviously, I'm the dumbest investor ever. Like I'm one of those guys that'll hold things to infinity or zero, and even when it's at infinity, I won't take profits. So I guess it's a little bit of a problem that I have.
We learn from it, maybe. But this news is pretty cool. It is definitely interesting to see. I mean, first of all, it's interesting to see companies that are not Michael Saylor's companies investing in Bitcoin and holding Bitcoin in their treasury. Obviously, there might be some play behind that, right? For GameStop especially, because GameStop has a pretty interesting backstory with all that Wall Street Bets history. And I think they are probably trying to, you know, build on top of that a little bit because they do have the community that reacts to news like this. Do we know what happened to GME? Like, did you check the ticker? Did you check what happened to the GameStop price after they announced this? Was there any impact?
Yeah, there was a slight pump, you know, so but it was the pump only lasted like maybe 12 hours, and then it went back to earlier levels. So I believe it was, I'm forgetting the exact numbers here, but I believe it was like $29 at a certain point. And then
I see it right now.
Increased down to, down to like 22. Yeah. So, but it corrected itself very quickly within 12 hours.
It did. Yeah, it did break even lower than it was before. So we're
kind of Ryan Cohen is probably one of the most degen CEOs in corporate America. They also were working on a NFT play, an NFT marketplace, and it was kind of the idea was, you know, you'd be able to buy gaming assets or skins or weapons as NFTs, and then like GameStop would have this NFT marketplace where you could trade assets from different games against each other. That did not go so well. They sunsetted that initiative. But Ryan Cohen has always been looking for ins with crypto. Like how can he incorporate crypto into GameStop? And I think this is one of those plays, right? If you can add Bitcoin to the reserve assets, which is very unique. I don't think there's a lot of, you know, companies that are doing this, but Ryan is exactly the type of founder that would make a play like this.
Honestly, I think GameStop is a perfect fit for the Michael Saylor MicroStrategy playbook. Because because GameStop sucks as a company. Like they kind of lost their market because like they used to sell games in a fucking store, right? Like who does that anymore? They try to come up with some new ideas, and I think MicroStrategy was that back then. They also were a software company. They tried to do some things. They weren't good at it. They didn't really. I mean, they made money. They were listed publicly and so on. But it was like not an extraordinary company. Then they started their Bitcoin strategy, and now they're fucking valuable only because they just kept buying Bitcoin like a crazy maniac. And I think GameStop is just like, hey, that worked out well for them. Maybe we can, rinse and repeat and follow their footsteps.
Yeah, and not an unattractive price point to buy Bitcoin now. Actually, I mean, I don't know if you want to look at the Bitcoin chart. I mean, but I'd love to get your take on like where we are with Bitcoin. Like it's been a while since you've done TA for Bitcoin. Like you've been focused on TA for Solana, which I really appreciate. But genuinely curious, like what do you think? Is it an attractive time to buy Bitcoin? Is it oversold? Like I literally know nothing about the TA for Bitcoin.
So it follows probably like the 60-70% what I talk about with Solana. The exact wave count and everything is different with Bitcoin, but right now we're at $82,000, which is definitely not a highly overbought area. We're trending towards an oversold area again right now. So if we look at the daily, for example, of the Bitcoin chart, I think it is realistic to see potentially prices from up like 79, 78,000 right now in another pullback. But then we should also see a recovery soon again. Obviously, it's the same story then with Solana. One more high doesn't need to come, possible, but then after that, we should enter a correction as well. So, it's kind of either you're doing the Michael Saylor and you're just hodling until we're at a milli. And then it doesn't really matter because this man is just buying at every single price, or you try to swing trade it a little bit, and then it might be a good entry right now for swing trade traders that are experienced and know what the fuck they're doing. They might be able to take some profits in another wave up, but it's not guaranteed right now. And then if we see another high, if Bitcoin is gonna go to the 130, 140k in one more high, that area is definitely a dangerous area to buy. I would be careful. Once we're there, you're gonna feel the FOMO. You're gonna feel like shit. Are we going to a milli right now? Like, am I going to miss out the next big, huge run on Bitcoin? You're probably not. If you have that feeling and we're at $130,000, watch yourself. Make sure that you're not buying in. At that moment, I would either just hold and chill if that's your strategy, or take some profits.
Yeah. But it's not just Bitcoin. There are some new token launches that are coming to Solana as well. Our very good friends over at Arcium, a German team, previously the founders of another protocol called Elusive. Julian hates it when I call them the tornado cash of Solana. He's like, the architecture is completely different. I'm like, yes, I understand that. But essentially, what Arcium as well as Elusive work on is privacy solutions. So Arcium is a new pivot from the Elusive team, and essentially what they are the kind of the latest update that. Oops, sorry. the latest update there. Yeah, thanks there, brother. Is they actually have a community round, right? So some vaults over on CoinList. I've actually not used CoinList before. Do you have some alpha or some information there?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I spent the whole weekend with one of the co-founders. I do have some alpha. So Julian, first of all, a great guy, who's together with 3 other founders in the Arcium team. Elusive was already pretty successful, but they decided to build basically the layer 0 of Elusive, which is now Arcium. And with Arcium, you can basically build solutions like Elusive on top of it. And they want to enable other builders to do that. So now they're looking actually for DApps utilizing the Arcium mainnet, which is going to go live very soon, by the way. I think they're entering the public testnet first in the end of April. That's the plan, if they can commit to the timeline. And then they want other teams to build on top of it. And one thing I want to add before we talk about the CoinList round, like the privacy tech that they're building is very interesting because it's super versatile. You can build a lot of real-world use cases on top of it. It starts with healthcare, where you have private patient data that you don't want to give to people that compute on top of it. So you can compute on top of it in a trusted and execution environment. using the Arcium tech stack. And you can basically compute things without knowing what the heck is inside there. Using Arcium, it can go in every single industry, right? It doesn't have to be only on in crypto, not at all. It's healthcare. It is warfare. Like there's some use cases over there that he highlighted. It's basically a lot of industries that they can use this in. So I think that's why a lot of big names also invested in Arcium early on. Right now they're doing the CoinList community round, as they call it. It's closing actually right now. So if you see this in the podcast on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, it might be already done, the community round. If you see it in the live stream, there's still time to head over to CoinList. You can check out the Arcium HQ Twitter handle to see the announcement as well. And on CoinList, you can invest right now at a 200 mil FTV, to my knowledge, which is the latest valuation of Arcium. You have no vesting and no cliff, 100% TGE unlock. The TGE is not yet announced, and also the team doesn't say any specifics around the actual date around the TGE. They're planning to raise a bit more money, I think, from what I heard, even before the token goes live. Really interesting project, have been around for a time, very capable team. They have a lot of PhDs in their ranks. They did acquire a big Web2 company last year, I think, that they also basically just integrated in their own tech stack together with the people working there. So that was pretty bullish. Overall, I think Arcium is one of the projects on Solana that has a very good reputation, and the community round is definitely, I guess, the last chance really for retail to buy the token before it lists on exchanges, whenever that's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, Julian, the elusive now Arcium boys have been building on Solana literally since the beginning. They've been around forever. Like, well, my first few events in Solana, that they were there, and I truly think that this whole kind of like anonymous token exchange, it was interesting and like kind of useful, but like not even what I think is most interesting about Arcium, right? Like being able to power healthcare use cases, which like where privacy is like a top concern. Being able to power, AI training use cases, in which case like you don't have to have like exact access to the data. Like this is very powerful. That's where I think Arcium actually has a lot of room to grow. And like, sure, like I do like anonymized transactions from, one transactor to another. But at the same time, that's not where I think the real money is. Like the real money is on giving access to like high quality trading data, but like anonymized, and like also empowering all these healthcare use cases that, quite frankly, require user information to be kept under lock and key.
Exactly, quite literally. So yeah, pay attention to Arcium and what they're up to in the next weeks. They're gonna make some waves, and if you're building any kind of product that needs privacy inside of its tech stack, then it might be also a great idea to reach out to the Arcium team. They're pretty helpful with brainstorming how their tech can help you to build privacy-first technology. So we do have a few other things that I would like to touch on before we head over to the big launches that happened on Solana. One thing that I want to highlight just real quick because it is very relevant right now this week, is that Trump has a big day coming up, which is the 2nd of April, where he already announced some big news. So before we talk about more product updates on Solana, quick highlight here. Trump wants to have a Liberation Day. That's what he calls it in America, which means in his language, the Liberation Day is going to liberate America from all the bad from all the trade that's happening against the USA, where they don't make money. He wants to make more money, so he wants to, obviously, America first, get production done inside of America. So there's been a lot of rumors, not just rumors. He also said it explicitly that on the 2nd of April he wants to announce some further news on the tariff front of things. And basically, what has been said so far is that people expect something called reciprocal tariffs, which would be something that basically puts taxes on imports that match the import taxes of the other countries. So basically, he just wants to equalize this thing a little bit. He already did a lot of tariff announcements in the past weeks for US, for Canada, for Europe, for China. And these parties, so Canada and EU explicitly, they already signaled that they will also consider retaliatory tariffs against USA post April 2nd, depending on what will be announced there. And that could potentially escalate into a broader trade war. And this, is why we didn't see a lot of bullish price action in the past days, because people are anticipating more volatility and trade war and all that shit, which is very bad for US economy. So just, we should stay cautious right now in this market. That is my 2 cents.
Yeah. I mean, on its face, I understand what Trump is trying to do, which is he just wants reciprocity, right? So like, whatever you charge me, like I want to be able to charge that to you. And also, if you want to just do full free trade where there's no tariffs either way, then, I understand that. My main thing is I don't understand why he's not going harder after China, right? Like China probably imposes more taxes on tariffs on the United States that are impactful than fucking like Canada and Mexico. Like these guys are not the main issue, if that makes sense. So like, I don't understand what his fixation is with, Justin Trudeau, or, the Mexican president. But yeah, they I don't know, dude really wants to make things fair.
He's just shooting in all directions, really, right now, right? And even his own advisors are split right now, from what I've read. Like his own advisors are, they're torn. Some people are like, okay, good job, keep pushing, America first, and others are, it's dangerous what you're doing. No one likes you anymore. Slow down a little bit. So it stays interesting for us. But I've been saying this since a while. It is interesting to see how crypto announcements are bullisher than ever. Institutions are coming to crypto, are more interested in buying Bitcoin, acquiring other currencies like Solana, and even using on-chain tech for institutional use cases. At the same time, prices are going down because of Trump's volatility agenda. It is kind of an interesting scenario, but there is more bullish news also on the Solana ecosystem related to institutions, And one big name that I want to throw into the conversation here is BlackRock. Can you give us the quick TLDR, what happened with BlackRock last week and what they announced together with Solana actually publicly?
Yeah, so BlackRock has this fund called the BUIDL Fund, and the BUIDL Fund is actually not comprised of crypto assets. That was a misunderstanding when I first saw it. But what it is comprised of is USD, like treasuries, as well as cash equivalents. And so whenever you buy like a single token of BUIDL, you're buying essentially one share in the BUIDL Fund. So one BUIDL token equals one fund share. And again, the fund does not hold digital assets. What the fund holds is US Treasury bills and cash equivalents. This BUIDL Fund was already accessible on Ethereum since a while. And now they've expanded to Solana. It's being tokenized by a company called Securitize. And obviously it's available multi-chain via Wormhole. I'm not that interested in this announcement. Like, I'm glad that BlackRock is using Solana tech. Like, that's cool. But when I hear digital liquidity fund, what I think is, okay, you have a fund, but for like Solana digital assets, it's like, oh no, we're the exit liquidity, right? You know what I mean? Like, so this is just another distribution mechanism for them to get more liquidity into their US dollar and like cash equivalents fund. And I'm not quite so sure who the audience is for this, like, but at the same time, I'm just glad that they're using Solana.
Yeah, I think it's mainly other institutions that are investing in the fund, like instance accredited investors. That's the target audience for this. It is the advantage here is blockchain, like the on-chain part of the BUIDL Fund is what makes it unique, and why also so much TVL flows into it, because it is flexible in custody. It has still the daily dividend payouts, and it has near real-time transfers as well, 24/7, obviously throughout the whole year. So it's just like it's just a next-gen financial infrastructure for a fund, and I think it is bullish to see that, and it also brings utility to blockchain. It brings more transactions to blockchain, which is what we need, because at the end of the day, we're databases that need to be transacted on, and otherwise it's dead. So I think these kind of use cases are definitely bullish and interesting. Not really for the token, not for Sol per se directly, but for the tech we're building, for the blockchain itself. Sure. And as you said, they are already on other chains since a while. So not only on Ethereum, they're on Polygon. And what else? They have a big chunk also on Avalanche and Aptos, I think. But the main part is on Ethereum, $1.5 billion. And now they're on Solana. Let's see how much we can attract as part of the RWAs inside the BUIDL Fund on the Solana chain. By the way, what do you think about the name? I think it's funny.
I mean,
like BlackRock. Yeah, like they're pretty serious people, and they're like,
I mean, they're obviously trying to be like crypto savvy. But also like they're charging 20 to 50 bips on like 4.5% APY, which is kind of like, very much TradFi rates on chain. So like, look, I know I should be more bullish on this and like happy that BlackRock is using Solana. I'm skeptical that institutions are really using on-chain assets to get exposure to fucking US Treasury bills. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? I mean, like, why, right? And then you're going to charge 20 to 50 bips like on US. Again, this isn't like DeFi yield or something interesting. Like you can only get it on Solana or Ethereum. It's fucking US Treasury bill exposure. So it's like, okay. I should stop being grumpy. I don't know. I'm grumpy today, Simon. Like I shouldn't be so grumpy, but it's also just like, what the fuck is this product, right? I guess, but
I still think it's bullish.
It's bullish. It's bullish. It's bullish. It's bullish.
Yeah,
but it's also this product makes no sense to me. But sure, I'm bullish.
But that's great. Everyone can check it out and also dive a little bit deeper. They have a full product side, I think, and also the dashboard that we're showing right now from Securitize that is also available. But the best place to find it is on the Solana news, I think, in the Solana news section.
Yeah, I mean that's crazy. Who put $1.5 billion? I mean, it has to be BlackRock themselves, right? That's the only.
I mean, there's like 60. I think there's like 60 depositors. 62 holders. So like there's people just depositing money in this because they want the yield, they want the 24/7 access to it, the flexibility, the daily payouts from the APY.
Sure.
Yeah, and it's pretty safe return. Like low risk exposure, I would say, because it's treasury bill.
Well, best of luck to BlackRock. Not that they need any luck.
Let's talk about more crypto native companies. Let's talk about Jupiter. Jupiter also announced something new. Why don't we head over to the announcement of Jupiter and check out what this is about? Give us the TLDR.
Okay, this I'm actually excited about. So Jupiter, Jupiter is launching world-class products, which includes Jupiter Mobile. And one of the most requested features ever is to be allowed to use your ledger, bringing cold storage to your, mobile wallet experience. And so now you can use your ledger with Jupiter Mobile. Again, this is something that people have been asking for over and over again. I have been asking for a web extension, a browser extension. I won't be able to make Jupiter my main wallet until they have it, but this is also a step in the right direction. They have ledger support for Jupiter Mobile.
How does that work? Because I think you have to have a certain version of the ledger, right? The Bluetooth enabled ledger, is that correct?
Yes, right. So essentially you have a hot wallet experience, but then you connect to your ledger, via Bluetooth. And then before you send a transaction, then on your ledger, you can, approve the transaction. So it says.
Cool. Yeah, I like that. So it's just, more secure than our good old hot wallets that we use daily, like the Jupiter Mobile one itself. But now you can just select inside of your Jupiter Mobile app and just select your ledger and use that account as well. Obviously, you need to have your hardware device next to you, and you have to have the applicable version for this. I personally have the OG ledger with the fucking cable that you need to plug into something. I don't think I can use that for Jupiter Mobile. I'm pretty sure I can plug it into my phone. But if it's Bluetooth enabled, then you should be fine with that experience.
I mean, it says approve transactions from any connected ledger device. So perhaps there's some janky cable setup that you could do from like USB-C to ledger device. Like I doubt it, but like it's possible theoretically.
Me too. If you want to use that feature and you want to be on the safe side, I think I would recommend to get the Bluetooth enabled one. Pretty sure about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was basically the 1.28 version of Jupiter Mobile, the Jupiter Mobile team keeps cooking. They keep cooking and shipping updates. Pretty much every month I hear something new inside of the mobile app. So definitely a priority for the team.
Yeah, Jupiter Mobile is definitely a core priority for the team. But again, when browser extension, I need the browser extension. Otherwise, they can't use it.
That's actually right. That would be good. That would be dope. Yeah, because I'm actually using my Soulflare much more because it's just in my browser and on my phone, and I need it in both, which makes sense.
The next feature, I'd love for you to cover this, Simon. This is absolutely amazing. What's going on here with KAST?
KAST Finance. So our friends from KAST are now launching their physical cards. Finally, it took like a year. Woo! I think I've been waiting for this. So KAST is one of the probably leading debit card players on Solana that allow you to set up an account in pretty much 3 minutes on your phone with the KAST app. And then after this, you click a few buttons. It takes probably another 2 minutes, and you can send your Solamis or whatever you want. Actually, USDC. You can send your USDC to your KAST app from your non-custodial wallet, and then you can spend it with your card. And so far, we've been using the virtual cards inside of your mobile device. So I've been using my KAST card since a long time. I have this since like more than a year now, and I'm using it to spend my crypto. And now we can get the physical debit card. You can order it from KAST. And what does it do for you? Well, you can first and foremost spend unlimited amounts of money with your physical card all over the world, which is pretty cool. Limits. And you can, of course, also withdraw money. So that's new. You can't do that with the virtual card usually. So now you can basically just put in the ATM, get some cash out of the ATM as well with your crypto card, and buy some supercars with your physical card or whatever you want to buy. So that's definitely cool. I also met the team, behind KAST, basically an infra provider that is powering the KAST card, and I've never heard about them, which is very interesting. They're called REAP, REAP, and they're huge. And they're basically providing. They have like 800 followers. You probably won't find them. They have like 1,500 employees and shit, and they provide infrastructure for KAST. They are pretty much KAST, which is very interesting. So exactly. So Reap is providing the infrastructure below the KAST card basically, and they're doing this for a few other cards as well. And I've been hearing some voices, and I'm probably not allowed to say that, but I'm gonna say it here anyways. There's gonna be a product from Reap coming out, which will be also a non-custodial consumer card.
I see. And what's crazy is that I actually know Darren. I met him in Hong Kong. I didn't realize that he was powering KAST. Right. That's very interesting. That didn't really come up in our conversation. Huh.
Yeah, they were here. Like 3 people from them were here. Darren, Felix was here as well. I think Justin. So yeah, pretty interesting to see that. But obviously, KAST has cracked the nut of the consumer adoption. Like they are just very good at distribution, very good at marketing, and that's what you need if you build a card, right? The infra is great. You need the infra, but if you can't put the card in people's hand, it doesn't really matter. And KAST was really good at shipping the card and making people use it. So I'm still pretty bullish on what KAST is doing, and I'm looking forward to get my physical card. Once I'm in Dubai, I'm going to try to get my hands on it.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the card design is fucking sick. I love this card design. It's absolutely beautiful. Sure. And also, the king of shitting on other products, actually has a positive review for once in his goddamn life. Mert says, can confirm that this card fucks. You can spend your stables anywhere without limits and get a shit ton of points back. One of the first apps I show people to onboard them to crypto. And now you can get a slick Solana card. It's very rare that Mert has anything positive to say, but he actually really loves KAST. So, I mean, if that just goes, you don't have to believe us. It's like talk to literally one of the most chronically negative people on Solana. He's very bullish on KAST.
Shit. I'm jealous that this man is so bullish on KAST. I need to show more of my own products. I think non-custodial crypto spending card though is gonna be so cool. You know what that means, right? You can keep your crypto in your own wallet, So because KAST is not obviously custodial, right? You send the money there and your money is in someone else's hands. As long as this works, perfectly fine. But if you want to be a crypto sovereignty maxi, you want to keep your cryptos in your wallet. Now with the non-custodial card, it gets lost the word. I'm gonna cut this. Transferred? No, whatever. Like it gets exchanged. Exchange, I think is the word. It gets exchanged from your non-custodial account into the spending at the moment of the spending. So when you're spending your money, at that moment it gets exchanged in the background. And until then, you remain non-custodial, and that is completely. I haven't seen that yet, really, a lot of times. A little bit, maybe on Ethereum, there was something with Gnosis. They did something similar to an extent, but never really took off crazily. So I think if we have this on Solana, maybe KAST is going to go in this direction at some point. Maybe Reap is going to launch their own thing. I think it's going to be cool.
That's awesome. I wonder whether or not you'll have the option to connect multiple wallets to a card, or if it's like kind of permanently linked from a card to an account. So I am interested to see what the implementation looks like. For the record, no, I did not understand what non-custodial card meant until you explained it. So thank you for explaining it.
I'm sarcastic right now. You probably are. Okay. Let's go to Polymarket, because Polymarket is now on Solana. Finally.
Yeah.
I think it took some time.
It took about years. But now with Polymarket, you can upload, deposits, probably Solana as well as USDC, into your Polymarket wallet using the Solana network. So it's not like wrapped Solana on Ethereum or anything like that. It's legitimately, good old fashioned Sol on Solana. You can load your wallets.
Nice. And Polymarket is big, and they've been doing a great job at the prediction market as a prediction market pioneer, I would say. They've been really pioneering this. They've been either the first or one of the first in that sector, and prediction markets are booming and working really, really well. Is it correct that Polymarket got blocked in USA? Can you confirm that, or am I mistaken?
I haven't lived in the US for 12 years, and I don't pay attention to what apps are blocked out of the US, but I would not be surprised if they were trying to protect themselves from an SEC lawsuit, and so blocked access to the US. But hey, just use a VPN. Not legal advice,
Exactly. It is actually not currently available for trading in the United States. They're actually since a while. However, some US residents bypass these restrictions using tools like VPNs to mask their location. I'm reading right now. I'm not recommending anything. I'm just reading news. So Polymarket definitely now also on Solana, and you can use your Solana to bet on real world events and basically trade whatever Trump is up to. Because that has been one of the most frequent use cases.
What I found very interesting about this tweet is like how they decided to make the announcement. Like typically this second tweet would be the first tweet, but they just went for this clickbaity like Solana to get maximum, I think, distribution for the tweet, because that's very readable, and of course people would want to retweet that or comment on it. And that the main announcement is actually in the second tweet. I've never seen that before as a strategy. That's interesting.
I mean, we would have picked up the first tweet already and talked about it on the pod. We'd be like, oh, did you see that? Polymarket tweeted Solana. What does that mean? So genius, and so low effort and maximum efficiency marketing growth hack. So shout out to the intern. Good job.
Actually, this next announcement I am the most excited for. Colosseum has announced their breakout hackathon. Simon, I think that you've been keeping your eye out on this as well, right?
Definitely. I mean, I'm a huge Colosseum fan. We took part in Colosseum as well in 2024 last year. I had a good time hacking during the Colosseum hackathon. Renaissance was it back then. And now the Solana breakout hackathon starts at April 14th. So it's literally 2 weeks from now. And then projects can submit their hackathon results until May 16th. So you do have quite some time to take part in this hackathon. Colosseum and Solana Foundation are doing hackathons in a different way than many other blockchains, where you have to attend a real life event and stay there for 3-4 days and don't sleep and ship something really quickly and then it's over. on Solana, you can actually map out what you want to do, sit down, start when the hackathon begins from all over the world. It's a remote hackathon really. And then you have a few weeks time where you can actually ship whatever you're building and create as much traction as possible in that short period, and then take part in a big prize pool during Colosseum. I think it's again like $1 million up for grabs in total throughout different tracks. And you are also competing for pre-seed funding from the venture fund of Colosseum themselves. So that is also on the table for winning teams. And I think a lot of successful teams are coming out of Colosseum. To name a few, there's Drift, there's Solana FM, there's Squats, there's Zeta Markets, Ionet, obviously, even Dialect and Ore, Tensor. They're all coming out of Colosseum Arena. So yeah, pretty bullish on the hackathon. And I think maybe you have some tips, on how builders can maximum their results for the hackathon. I know that you're also advising a few projects sometimes on a high level and help them to ship. What would you say to people that are interested in taking part in Colosseum to maximize their results here?
Yeah, so I just spent the last 3 weeks in Japan mentoring teams, getting them ready for the breakout hackathon. So like if you're a team from Super Team Japan that's watching this video, I miss you guys, but and unfortunately I can't keep the advice just for myself or for you guys, just some general tips. So our team, before I joined Sanctum, the ISC team, we won the payments track of the Renaissance Hackathon last year. And so general tips I have is, and this is going to sound really weird, but especially if you're thinking to like submit with an existing idea, is you might want to rethink your ideas, right? And what do I mean by that? The ideas are very much judged on, does this product need to exist? And is this the team that's right to build it, right? And if you don't have like enough track record, or like you're new to development or new to Solana, like that's okay. Then you just need to work on traction, right? Like it's kind of like a sliding scale where it's like, obviously you want to max out, traction. You want to max out the best idea that fits the market for where we are, right? So for example, like maybe 4 years ago, it would be a great idea to start a DEX. Like right now, I'm not so sure anybody wants or needs an additional DEX. Yes, you might be working on something new and unique, but it's not something that we really need right now. AI is another example of, a topic that was very hot for a period of time. And like, yeah, working on an AI idea could be useful, but like if you're just making another version of virtuals, then like, probably not that interesting, to be quite frank. And again, like you want to be able to max out like, okay, team credibility is like, is this the right team to do that? But if you don't have any of these things, then you can kind of try to make up for it with traction. So there's a lot of things you can do to try to win the hackathon, and you just have to play to your unique strengths, either by having a killer idea that's very fresh and new and fits a market need, or trying to boost your credibility by pointing out like all the things that you've done in the past that are relevant to the current hackathon submission and why you're the right team to build it. And in lieu of that, then try to get as much traction as you can in a month, and be very explicit that you started from 0, but you were able to get to like 10 or 15, right? Just through pure grit and hard work. And so that's a very good signal. Those are some tips that I have for winning the Colosseum hackathon.
Is there any vertical, any topic, anything that you see right now in the market where you would personally say, hey, that is at least an area where I would like to double click on, sit down together with my buddies, pull up the whiteboard and think, hey, can we innovate in that area? Is there any sector? It's a subjective question, obviously, but also to an extent a relevant one, because what do you think is hot?
I think honestly consumer, right? Like on Solana, we talk all the time about how we need to build for consumer, but quite frankly, I don't think we have a lot of great consumer applications on Solana. Some examples of great consumer applications: Moonwalk. Moonwalk is a great consumer application, right? There are also teams in Japan that are working on Pokemon Go for meme coins, so Loot Go. There's like also like a black bass fishing club, all on chain, so that fishermen can earn like token incentives while fishing. Like these are interesting consumer apps that I would like to see develop, and they're very unique use cases. It's not really DeFi related at all, right? It's adding a payment layer to an experience that might not have exist before. So that's kind of what I'd like to see, is consumer applications that add a payment layer to a specific experience that a traditional payment rails don't address very well. Another example of this would be time.fun, right? You're adding a payment layer to how people spend their time. And the three categories are answer a message, a video call, or like an audio call, right? So you're adding a payment layer to how do people spend their time, and like how do you monetize their time. So those are just my general thoughts, is like how can you use crypto as a payment layer and add that to consumer?
Super interesting. I think it's very exciting to build in Colosseum. Just open mind, start something new. The opportunities are there. People are watching. They are looking at you. One additional advice from my side that I can give to teams that are building something during a hackathon and just starting out: start talking about it as much as you can, as early as you can, everywhere. Go to the events that are going on throughout the world in Solana. If you have the option to do that, really try to show up. Sometimes there's events where you get subsidized accommodation, or you get grants to go there. The Founders Retreat in Capetown was subsidized by the Solana Foundation completely, entirely. So it is possible to apply to these events and really try to get in there. The Apex Summit here in Capetown, is sharing a picture right now, a big group of people for the Apex Capetown here. It brought together a lot of people, and a lot of these people that you see on the picture here, myself as well here, are building their own projects. And a lot of them are very new to the game, right? But they went here and they talk about their project. They pitch it to people. They ask me for advice, right? So I think a lot of these new builders, many good people from Nigeria that I met with interesting ideas, very motivated and ambitious, and they just pitching it left and right, tell people about it, collecting followers for their X account, getting some inspirations here and there. That's what you should do if you do the hackathon. See it as you're just starting your actual business and go all in. Tweet about it. Tag the people that are in the trenches in Solana. Tag some of the advisors and judges from Colosseum. Make sure that they see that you're building as early as possible, because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for traction, and traction means followers on X, engagement, comments, obviously early access signups on your product. If it's live already in a POC, users of your product. All these things are very bullish. So I think there's a few things you can do to win such a hackathon, but it definitely requires a lot of work. It is not easy. We can say that, but the opportunity is there.
Yeah, and I really gotta double click on what Simon just said there. By the way, you started using double click, and then now I use it I use it at Sanctum. I use it in my personal life with my wife. I use it
sorry for that.
No, I know, but it's so I love when I find
just so visual.
When someone teaches me a phrase that is just interesting, I'm like, oh, double click. I understand visually kind of what that. It just tickles my brain in the best way possible. So yeah, okay. But just double clicking on that point that you made, is there's so many builders who work hard. No one's saying that you're not working hard. Okay, you're spending from your perspective 60 to 70 hours on the coding and the engineering and making the product beautiful. I get that, and that's very important, right? But here's the really harsh reality of building a company in 2025: is that's only 50% of your job. Right? What's the other 50%? The other 50% is distribution, right? And there's all different ways to get distribution, but clearly the tried and true method where you can get distribution is to yap about your product or what you're working on as much as possible on Twitter, which is exactly what Simon is talking about. But the framing that I'm trying to add on top of that is, again, 50% of the job, right? 50% is distribution, and the other 50% is product. And I know that's not how most of us were taught. Most of us are taught if you build it, they will come. And I'm telling you, no, they fucking won't. So if you think you're working 70-hour weeks and you're doing a great job building a great product, hey, respect to you, I understand, right? But if you're not spending at least 10 to 15 hours a week on your socials game, talking about your product, making videos for your product, going out of your way to go to local events. Like not everybody can afford to go to South Africa, but even then, as Simon said, they're comping it, guys. You know, the accommodation, not the entire trip, but like as long as you cough up, you know, the flights, and maybe you take a double connecting flight, and so now the flight ticket's only like $150. It took you 36 hours to get there, but it's only $150 to get there. You can get your accommodation comped, you know, and get plugged into the ecosystem. And even going to one of these events, well, especially if you've never been, will expand your network exponentially in ways that you couldn't even imagine. And once people know who you are in person, the amount of trust, the amount of interest, it just skyrockets, and it actually reflects on your X statistics, which is very interesting. It's like whenever I go to, I think Simon, you probably feel the same way. You go to a physical event and then you look at your Twitter stats, the engagement. It's like, oh, it's all these people that I met, you know? So
yeah,
very much,
and
relevant people. Yeah, relevant people.
Relevant people. That's yes. The thing. Like people that actually, you know, that are interesting, that are doing things that you want them to see what you're doing. So that's great as well. I think that is a great pivot to one announcement that we can also quickly touch on, which is a new advisor that has been making the way to Solana, and it's been discussed a little bit on crypto Twitter already. I haven't heard a lot about Nikita Bier before this, honestly, from my side. Nikita is a Web2 OG builder, acquired build apps that got acquired by Facebook, by Discord, and basically, ex-founders of the GAS app, and then also ex-founder of what's the other company?
TBH, to be honest.
TBH, yeah. Personally, haven't been a user of these apps, not too familiar with it. But Nikita Bier is an OG in marketing and distribution, from what I've heard, and can give very good product advice as well. And yeah, basically, we have a new person that is now on Solana, advising teams building on Solana. And that could be your hackathon project if you make it and get this person to be watching what you're doing. And you can try it on Twitter and just tag Nikita here and there in some posts and see if you can get some replies. But bottom line, I'm just very happy that we have good people with good track record on Solana now, coming more and more, advising our projects on Solana, helping us to be better. Did you know about Nikita before, or was it for you also a new kind of news where you saw it?
I've definitely respected Nikita for many years. Before Web3, I had a string of failed Web2 businesses. And what Nikita gives you confidence in, or belief in at the very least, is that, look, 100 different teams might be working on a language learning app, but there will only be one or two who really crack the UI UX code. And Nikita is just this testament to both creativity and solid fundamentals can get you a killer app, even if on its face, the idea of the app is not that interesting, right? Like if someone came up to me and said, I'm creating a new language learning app, I would be like, so the fuck what, right? But then if you told me that Nikita was going to work on it, I'd be like, okay, he's going to find a compelling hook or a compelling way to teach people English, right? So it just, again, Nikita is really good at creating something out of nothing, just based on a pure creativity, whether it be a hook or a specific user mechanic or an incentive. And so to have him on Solana, which is building the best consumer tech, is phenomenal, because if we can get him advising top protocols to how to make their products more friendly for retail, if we can get him advising the next generation of consumer apps on Solana, it just strengthens our dominance as a chain and our reputation as the consumer chain for the world.
I love that, and I also love what I see on his Twitter. Honestly, like there's a thread pinned to his profile with very good engagement as well. After 10 years of building consumer social apps, I've decided to start exploring new areas. Building these products is an unforgiving grind, but I learned a lot along the way. And for those embarking on this path, here's everything you need to know. Time for a thread. And then you can deep dive into a lot of his advice. And I flew over it. And there's a lot of good stuff in there. So at Nikita Bier on Twitter as well. People can check out the content. And for startup founders, definitely an inspiration. And also a person that you might want to have around to ask some questions regarding your own product.
Yeah. This next news item, we're not going to show anything visually. It's just kind of the intern respectfully asked that we don't be doxing people, which is, he was already kind of pre-doxed, but that's fine. But the founder of Pump.Fun went on the Bankless podcast, and he had kind of like a face scrambler. But the issue is the face scrambler, it was static, and he moved for a single frame, but it was enough for him to dox his face. So that's actually quite unfortunate. I actually, as much as I hate Pump.Fun, I don't take any personal joy that when people mistakenly dox themselves. But what I did find fucking hilarious is, Pump.Fun is supposed to be permissionless token launches or whatever, right? It's like people made a meme coin of his doxed face, and like those coins got removed from Pump.Fun. And I'm like, I fucking knew it, you guys. It's all about decentralization until it's inconvenient for you.
Yeah. Oh wow. This is spicy actually. When I saw the news, obviously I knew there's a meme coin probably already. After 5 minutes of the post was like, there's gonna be meme coin, but I didn't know they are taking these down.
Yeah.
Which is obviously, I understand that, because Aaron is trying to, Alan is trying to protect himself. But I mean, it is just, it's a permissionless protocol. You shouldn't do that, because there were people doing all sorts of shit on Pump.Fun, and you didn't take these things down for a long time, right? So at least be fair about it. It feels a bit off, and it is spicy. I also find it funny that it happened on Bankless. Sorry, but and a bit sorry for them, because it is a big, I imagine what happened in the group chats when they were like, bro, we just launched a video and you can see his face. And everyone's like, oh, panic, and video got taken down. Obviously, everyone screenshotted already. So, and then Alan was probably not happy about that as well, that it aired on such a big venue like Bankless. Anyway, bottom line, I listened to the pod and I listened to what Alan had to say, and I do respect the grind, because the team has been grinding as shit. And when Pump.Fun was new, they came up with this idea. They've been building in Ethereum for a long time, which, by the way, explains a little bit about their Solana behavior. They don't give a shit about the ecosystem, honestly. They give a shit about products, and they give a shit about building products that are being used, right? They're good entrepreneurs, I would say. But they don't give a shit. They're not Solana like us. They're not Solana maxis that are like here for making Solana great. So that's why they don't really give a shit about the whole Solana eco overall. But they've been building in Ethereum and been failing a lot on Ethereum. And then they had this actual idea, okay, hey, these pre-sales on X, where you just send money to a random Twitter, to a random public key, they are fucking stupid. We need a better solution for that. They came up with Pump.Fun. They DM'd thousands of people to ask, like traders, to ask, hey, do you want to try this out? What do you think about it? Give us some feedback. So I think they really hustled back then. And I can relate to what Alan said in the pod when he saw every day after waking up thousands of new people using Pump.Fun. He was like, shit, I finally found product market fit after failed products, after, iterating, texting a lot of people. So I can relate to that. I respect the hustle. I don't respect the kind of downside of Pump.Fun. And I do find it funny what happened with the face and his platform. It's kind of indicative of the whole movement. But yeah, Alan got doxed and Bankless aired it, and that's what happened.
Well, look, I understand that he's look, we would like for him to be Solana aligned, but the fact that he's not Solana aligned isn't a sin. Like, it doesn't make me like you, but it's not a sin.
Right.
But let's be clear about something. Fucking double standards, okay? Because again, like, when everyone else is affected by a certain token, it's like, oh, it's fine, it's a permissionless platform. But when it's you, and to be fair, you put yourself in this situation. It's not like anyone asked you to be on Bankless. You could have gone camera off if you wanted to, right? You put yourself in this situation, and now you're dealing with the consequences of it. It's a fucking double standard when you're taking down tokens that affect you, but when they affect other people, it's not your problem. Like, again, I do have an issue with the permissionless nature of Pump.Fun sometimes, but hey, as long as, it's fair game for everybody, then I kind of get it, right? This is total, it's fuckboy behavior. It's like, it's two-faced. It's not morally consistent. So, fuck that, basically.
Definitely some proper crypto Twitter drama for us to talk about. And talking about Pump.Fun and talking about meme coins, I think there has been one more interesting development on the timeline that we can put in the same drama bracket related to one meme coin on Pump.Fun that launched a while ago that didn't perform quite well. What happened,
Yeah.
What news?
Well, yeah, we've talked about Tuah for months now. Actually, we've been covering this saga from the very beginning. And like, obviously there was a very viral video where I think someone, I was like TikTok interview, and someone asked this very inebriated girl, like, what are you going to do to make your man happy? And he's like, Tuah, you got to spit on that thing. And that became, this giant meme that eventually a team approached Haley Welch, who was the girl in the video, who got her 15 seconds of fame. And they approached her to launch a meme coin. She says yes. Our view on it at the time is that she was incredibly naive and had no idea what she was getting herself into. And also, to be very clear, this was in the beginning of kind of the micro celebrity / celebrity meme coin cycle. So we didn't really know how these tokens would perform. I mean, this is my own personal opinion. There was kind of room for, okay, this could be, a fairly successful token, right? But what ends up happening is, after they launch, it crashes over 95%, within a couple of hours. And there's been a lot of weird stuff in between where she was supposed to do an interview and then she didn't do the interview, but then she did do the interview, but then she cut it short. But a lot of people think she's a scammer. I don't think she's a scammer. I think the team that she worked with are scammers, and then she is the unwilling kind of public face. I mean,
as always, in crypto meme coins, 99% of these celebrity tokens and president tokens, it was like this. It was some insiders, making all the profits, scamming everyone, and then the face of the token got fucking rugged as well. They made some mistakes as well on the line, but yeah, imagine the SEC would, he kept going after her, like, poor woman, honestly. Like, I'm obviously I'm also sorry for the people that lost money in this, but as always, it's a fucking meme coin. Like, don't expect to, get rich. Expect to lose money first. But then, secondly, like, she probably didn't see all the risks associated with that, with what she pulled off there. So she must be relieved.
I'm in a point in the meme coin cycle now, especially post Trump launch and post Libra, where now I don't have much sympathy, right? Like, I think it really depends on the context of, like, you can look at the same behavior, but if it's done in different parts of the timeline with different context, I feel very differently about it. Like, back then when Tuah, and it's only been a few months, but it feels like fucking forever ago, but it really felt like, okay, she did not know what she was doing. And that's very unfortunate, but whatever, right? Post-Trump token launch, it's like, bro, if you don't realize that launching your own token is going to be extractive, then I have very little sympathy for you. And if you haven't seen how these launches, like, if someone approaches you, I'm a micro celebrity, right? Like a B-list or a C-list celebrity, and then someone approaches me to launch a meme coin, it's all like, what rock would I have to be living under to have not heard about the Trump launch? Like, I immediately would your responsibility is to do due diligence on this and to study up. But of course, these people are too rich and famous and having a good time to ever do their homework. Maybe that's a mean thing to say. And like, I don't know who, how celebrities live, but I'm just saying, like, the likelihood that they're actually going to do their research and just look beyond the money is quite low. So yeah, I guess just bearish on celebrity meme coins and the people who launch them.
I agree. I'm on your side here. I'm also pretty fed up with meme coins, as many people are. I don't think it's the most exciting use case for our beautiful blockchain anymore. I am happy that we got some learnings from it, and now we're here. So let's move forward and look forward. And talking about looking forward, I think at this point right now, we are looking forward to the next episode of the Salt Brothers next week. Is there anything we're missing for this week's edition that you would like to share with the audience, or are you ready for some closing remarks?
Nope, just ready for some closing remarks. I will say the show is, I don't know. I don't think we're doing anything wrong. I just think that the market is like, it's not like, definitely, I don't know. The market doesn't feel as fun as it did like maybe three months ago. Like, I want more announcements. I want more launches. I want more like fun things to talk about, but even the drama is kind of dried up a little bit, if that makes sense. Like, it's not as spicy as it used to be, or maybe I'm just not looking hard enough. I definitely don't think it's the intern's fault. I think that just
No,
in general, the conversations on surrounding Solana have gotten a little boring. So
yeah, but
ready for that to pick up.
100%. And I think the only place where you can even get exciting news on Solana in the bear market is the Sol Brothers podcast. So this is our job. Like we're going to find it. Whatever happens in the market, we're going to stick around. Whatever happens in the market, because there's good times and there's bad times, and people that make it in life are usually the people that show up in both of these phases, right? Whatever you're in right now in your life, take this little advice, because it applies to every single aspect of your life. And it's going to be fine. And Solana is also going to be fine. We're all going to make it. And there's always news to cover. So if you want more news from the Solana ecosystem, then make sure to follow the Sol Brothers on Twitter, on X, at Sol Brothers Pod. Go on YouTube, search for Sol Brothers Pod, and also give us a subscribe on YouTube. We would be very happy about that as well. And if you want to listen to this as a podcast, then you can also find us on Spotify and on Apple. We are posting every single week on X little short form videos that help you to stay up to date if you don't have the attention span that you need to follow a 1 hour conversation. But if you like the long form format, then definitely make sure that you check out the podcast as well and tune in there. Or you can join the live streams, because we're doing this every Monday. Mondays are for the bros. So we're live streaming right now, and we're live streaming again next week, Monday, for the next episode of Sol Brothers. Until then, thank you so much for being part of this journey and part of the community. We'll see you at the next one when it's time again for the latest and greatest from Solana. Eno, it was a pleasure as always. Thank you so much.
Mondays are for the bros. I love that so much. See you next time, guys.
Peace out. Bye-bye.
Bye.